Syracuse took complete control of Duke, storming out to a 5-1 lead in the first quarter. But hey, Duke came back, just trailing by 1 goal at a point in the third quarter. But the Orange were able to survive, defeating the Blue Devils 14-10. Highlights, analysis, reaction, we've got it all for you here on Orange Press Pass, and it all starts right now. Welcome into Orange Press Pass. That's Spencer Pierce. That's Andy Klaff. I'm Nick Zelaya. We're here recapping a 14-10 Syracuse victory over Duke earlier in the Carrier Dome today. The first win against a ranked opponent since April of 2021 for Syracuse. So Spencer, what's your first thought on this victory?
All right, well, my first thought is that the first quarter woes are finally behind them. I don't mean to overreact to one game, but it looks pretty good. Against Maryland and Virginia, the 1 and 2 teams in the country respectively, they scored 1 goal. That is really, really bad, and they got 5 goals in the first quarter against a relatively Duke defense, so I think that they might be back right now.
Yeah, and part of that first quarter woes being out the window comes from the speed and aggression that they brought today, and they definitely needed it against a team like Duke, especially with a player like Brendan O'Neill on the attack. He's 6'2", lefty, 225 pounds. They can't let him push them over in the midfield, especially on the attack.
For the most part, they're able to prevent O'Neill and get out to a big win. Back-to-back victories for the first time all season for Syracuse. So let's see how it all went down in the Dome. Syracuse and Duke, the Orange, 3-4 coming into this one. Duke, 8-3 winners of 3 of their last 4 games. Starting out in the first quarter, the 11-minute mark, Matteo Corsi gets the scoring going for the Orange. 1-0 Syracuse, and they got out to that hot start in the first quarter. There's Tucker Dordevic, the spin move, creating space, making it 4-1 Orange. And then Brendan Curry using the left hand, 5-1 Orange going into the second quarter. But here comes Duke, Brendan O'Neill. It was only a matter of time until number 34 got on the board, but Syracuse, they strike right back. 8-3, top corner shot from Corsi. The bench fired up a 5-goal lead for Syracuse going into halftime. Third quarter now, Tucker Dordevic was all over the place. He scores there. The ball slowly creeps its way into the net. And here's Duke once again. Brendan O'Neill in traffic, able to score just in 10-9 game. Syracuse advantage. Fourth quarter though, Joe Robertson makes it 11-10. Syracuse still holding on to a very small lead, but here was the highlight of the day. The great defensive play, and then here a transition coast to coast. Here come the Orange. The ball ends up in the hands of Tucker Dordevic, and he scores. I don't know if you saw it right there. This was stupid of Dordevic. Through the legs, ridiculous. What a shot from 23. 5 goals on the day for the redshirt junior. He celebrates. It's all great things for Syracuse. They pull off the upset against the number 11 team in the nation, Spencer.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the Schwami, I would say, what? To that goal. That was absolutely electric, and that is going to be your SportsCenter #1 play of the night. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and also from Tucker Dordevic, you'd expect a little bit from Brendan Curry out here today, but no, you got Owen Seabald with 2 goals and 5 shots on the day. So if you can see that right up there on the screen, helps from Tucker Dordevic and Owen Seabald for today in the 14-goal game.
And Syracuse improves now to 4-4, back at 500 once again. And now we bring in Jesse Kook, who was lucky enough to be in attendance for this one. Jesse, that Dordevic goal was amazing through the legs. What did the energy change exactly after that shot?
Well, Nick, the energy in the Dome was already pretty high heading into that goal, because remember, it was nervous energy. Duke had just closed the gap right before that. But another thing that goes into it is Landon Clary. He's someone who's been battling injuries all season long. So when he started that play with a massive hit to force the ball upfield, that alone added some juice to the roster. And then Tucker Dordevic, the top scorer on the team, 4th in the country in goals per game, hitting probably the greatest goal you'll ever see in your lifetime. I think that's going to add some stuff. Syracuse didn't allow Duke to score again after that, so safe to say that the energy easily went up just a little bit.
Jesse, first of all, I must say you look incredibly handsome on this Saturday in the Dome. A few times during this game, we saw the coaches on the sidelines be absolutely livid with the referees. So what were some of the things that you saw or heard that us watching TV couldn't find?
Well, Spencer, it was easily the most physical game that Syracuse has played all season long. Hits were flying left and right. You saw it with Landon Clary on that Ducker Dordovic goal. Just the body was out there. So that's part of the reason why people were mad at the refs. I mean, the tensions were high. Griffin Cook in the first half exited the field to the sideline and exchanged some words with some guys in blue jerseys. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he was complimenting their haircuts because they got a little aggravated. When tensions are that high, people are going to get upset. Now, usually coaches will get into it when the referees aren't calling penalties. This was the other way around. You saw two unreleasable penalties, one for each side. Brett Kennedy, one for Jake Caputo for Duke. It was an even game as far as the referees, but there was a lot of anger.
Hey, Jesse, hope the weather's doing all right in the dome over there, but we saw Griffin Cook, Syracuse player, come off the field early in the third quarter, but did you notice anything or hear anything on the status of the injury, if it's even an injury at all?
Well, Annie, you saw on the broadcast that Griffin Cook was in a lot of pain on that sideline, and he had to get some help walking off the field. I saw him in crutches after the game. Gary Gate really wasn't too willing to talk a lot about the injury. I'm not sure there's a lot that they know right now. But also, obviously, lacrosse is one of the most physical games on the planet. So when someone goes down with an injury, the teams don't want to say too much anyway, because if he's able to return this season or when he returns at all, you don't want a player on an opposing team targeting a specific body part and trying to exploit that pain.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cook, on all your lacrosse coverage. Make sure I get your last name right this time. It's not that hard to pronounce. But when we come back after the break, we'll get into some of the headlines for Syracuse. What went well so good at the beginning of the game? And also, was Syracuse taking too many shots? OPP comes back after the break.
Here's to the straggly ones, the first ones. Hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones. And the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
Welcome back into Orange Press Pass. Spencer Pierce, Andy Klaff. I'm Nick Zelaya, recapping a 14-10 victory over the Duke Blue Devils for this Syracuse men's lacrosse team. And they got out to a blazing hot start, guys. 5-1 at the end of the first quarter. Really everything going right. The energy was completely in favor of Syracuse. And it felt like, Spencer, that Duke really had no answer for the Orange in that first frame. Yeah, well,
as you mentioned, they got off to a hot start, but I actually attribute that to the defense. Lacrosse is so easy to be contagious in your energy. The defense brought a lot of energy to the offensive side, if that makes sense. They really stepped up. They gave 3 goals up to Stony Brook and Johns Hopkins. They gave up 2 in the first quarter. So to limit Duke, which is a really good offensive team, to just 1 goal in the first quarter was huge for both the defense and the offense.
Yeah, and it really shocked me also because Syracuse is usually not a first and final quarter team. This was the first game all season for Syracuse where they scored more than 4 goals in the first quarter. It was the opposite for Duke, though. They scored 4 goals in the entire first half. Meanwhile, they had 4 goals in just the third quarter coming back, so it was totally the opposite for Duke comparatively to Syracuse.
And I think one thing that stands out is the ground ball differential, 10-5 in the first quarter. And that was a big reason for the aggressive play that Syracuse had. They were super physical on both ends of the field, offensively and defensively. 12 caused turnovers. And we saw after the game, Tucker Dordevic talked a bit about Landon Clary, who's suffered some injuries. He was great today. Annie, with you on this one, what was the aggressive play like to you?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, Syracuse brought a lot of speed and aggression comparatively to games we've seen before. That was my first thought also. But one of the most aggressive aspects of the game I saw today was at the face-off X. You had Jacob Fopp going up against Jake Naso, who is objectively the #1 face-off, or he has the highest face-off percentage in the nation. And so you saw that competitive matchup at the face-off X. You saw it elsewhere on the field in the Dome. So Spencer, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Duke is a team that averages about 15 goals a game. They're good for 6th in the country. The way to stop an offensive powerhouse like that is to put a body on their players, and that's exactly what Syracuse did. They were aggressive. They got every single loose ball. If nothing else is going well for them this season, the best thing that they can do is to stay aggressive on the defensive end.
While they were very aggressive, there is a bit of a worry, though, and it's maybe inefficiency, you can say. 61 shots Syracuse took compared to 33 from Duke, only converting 39% of them on goal. Does that worry you at all, Spencer, with how inefficient they are? This has been a bit of a theme for this lacrosse team throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think the bigger picture here is that this team just doesn't pass the ball a lot. And when you're playing standstill offense, really in any sport, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, if you're playing a one-man game standstill offense, you're going to be taking those long shots that are a lot less effective. So if they can start to assist the ball and just pass it and get the ball in more, I think that would be really, really good for their accuracy.
I will say, though, today I saw a lot more passing than I did in previous games for Syracuse. And especially against Duke in the first quarter, especially, Duke held onto the ball a lot more, tried taking those first-hand shots by themselves, no assists. And it kind of backfired on them. They lost a lot of opportunities because they were holding on for it too long. But that's how Syracuse helped a little bit, was their speed, aggression. But again, the 61 shots and how many? 24 were on goal is just not acceptable. Really.
I think one thing we can definitely point out, though, is despite the shots on goal being through the roof, the shots, you won the game 14-10 regardless. That's the only point, is who scores more goals. But a guy who scored a good amount of goals was Tucker Dordevic today. And he's our Orange Press Pass player of the game, scoring 5 goals, 2 assists, totaling 7 points. And he continues to amaze the lacrosse world. That between the legs shot was ridiculous. I can't get over it. Me and Spencer and Annie will all be watching that later a million times, just like Twitter. But he gets our Orange Press Pass player of the game. He's been spectacular. The 5th time this season he's scored 5+ goals. And the 4th time this year he's had a multi-assist game. But when we come back after the break, we'll play a little stock up, stock down, whether or not Bobby Gavin deserves to start. How's his defense, and how's Coach Gate doing in his first season? OPP returns in just a bit.
OTN is on all your favorite apps: Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Search Orange Television Network or OTN. OTN has its best shows, short films, and CitrusTV on demand. Family and friends can watch OTN too. Watch the live stream of OTN to catch live CitrusTV news, live from Studio B, and mornings on the Hill. On or off campus, watch OTN anywhere.
They took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad!
okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
When Tucker Dordevic joined the Syracuse program back in 2018, there were tons of high school accolades across the board for the Portland native. He missed all of 2019 with an injury, but over the last 3 seasons, he has been ridiculous. 64 goals, 26 assists, along with a 16-10 record for Syracuse over that span. But despite all the great numbers he's put up, the great awards he's received in his time as a college athlete, this might be his best season so far this year in 2022. He changed positions, really changed things as Gary Gait came into the program, and now in 2022, Dordevic might be having his best season as a redshirt junior.
What do you mean? He is having the best season as a redshirt junior. This season, he is 4th in the country in goals. He is incredible in offensive efficiency. He's averaging just about 3.5 goals a game. He leads the team in goals, points, shots on goal, and most importantly, Annie, I know where you're taking us with this, assists.
Yeah, obviously it's great when Tucker goes to goal on his own and gets those goals for Syracuse like he did today, but he also sets up plays for the rest of the team. He's a natural-born leader in that sense, and especially in support. He had 5 assists in the last 2 games for Syracuse, and aside from that, he's 1 out of 2 players for Syracuse who's in the running for the Tewaaraton Award at the end of the year, MVP for lacrosse. And the other one is Brendan Curry, but Tucker Dordevic, in this sense, he's an assist leader, he's a goal scorer, and you mentioned it's his best year yet. I don't know, because he just announced that he's got 1 other year with Syracuse. He's taking on his 6th year of eligibility with Syracuse next year, so maybe you can only go up from here.
Well, welcome back into Orange Press Pass. Some high praise for Tucker Dordevic. Hopefully he comes back for his 6th year. And this is our first Orange Press Pass of the lacrosse season. We missed the first 7 games of Tucker Dordevic's season because the basketball team was just dragging us into a black hole of disappointment to the end of February and early March. But we're here in lacrosse season. Syracuse is 4-4, and now we're going to buy a little stock, maybe sell some stock into a couple different Syracuse things. First, starting off with the goalie situation, especially Bobby Gavin, who got the start today. His 2nd consecutive start in back-to-back games, and he was great today. 10 saves, only gave up 10 goals, 50% save percentage, but he may have locked his spot in as the starter in cage for the rest of the season for this Syracuse team. Spencer, are you buying or selling stock that Gavin is the starter the rest of the season?
I'm like Fat Joe. I'm all the way up. I'm taking it. Bring me Bobby Gavin. We're going home against Duke today. Like you said, 10 saves. Against a team that is like Duke in offensive efficiency, and we already talked about them being top 10 in the country in goal scoring. A really, really encouraging performance for him, a confidence booster, and I think that he's able to take this confidence and bring this to the goalie competition that there is, and he is going to absolutely beat out Thompson.
You know, Spencer, I'm going stock up, maybe not as enthusiastically as you are, but
Skinny Joe.
But Bobby Gavin, he did significantly better against a ranked team than before this season, and it's going to be interesting seeing who goes next, Harrison Thompson, Bobby Gavin. But like you said, I'm going stock up.
Yeah, I'm sure Bobby Gavin will get the go against Notre Dame in their next game. But now looking at the defense. So Gavin does a lot in the cage, but he also has some help on the defense. Andy, starting with you here. They caused 12 turnovers today. They won the ground ball battle. Really physical. Are you buying stock in this Syracuse defense?
Honestly, after the first quarter, I would have set up. But now, after seeing the rest of the game, I'm going down. They allowed 20 shots on goal out of just 33 shots for Duke. That's too much. You can't allow a strong offense like that, especially with Brennan O'Neill, to get 20 shots on goal. It's just too much opportunity for a team like Duke against Syracuse. And even if Bobby Gavin did well, but it's just too much room for disaster.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. My merit for this, first of all, I'm going down. My merit for this is their upcoming schedule against number 4 Cornell, number 8 UNC, number 2 UVA, who already put a pounding on them, and number 12 Notre Dame. I just don't think the defense is going to be able to keep up. Like you said, Andy, if they're giving up this many shots to Duke, who we know they're very, very good, what are they going to do to UVA? What are they going to do to Notre Dame? They're going to give up 1,000 shots. They're going to lose by 50. I don't think it's going to keep up at all.
I think looking at that schedule as well, a big factor is going to be what kind of changes Coach Gate makes. And 4-4 now as a coach at Syracuse. You know, tough schedule coming up. He got his first ACC win. Are you buying stock in Gary Gate to wrap up the season, or how you feeling around Coach Gate right now?
Well, I wouldn't want to see Coach Gate on campus, that's for sure. He seems like a huggable guy, but I don't think he's going to like my answer. I'm going to go down on him. I just need to see more of it. It's pretty similar to his defensive unit. I just got to see more. I mean, the guy sounds depressed in his post-conferences. This is the first time he's had to actually game plan and do work for a lacrosse team, because we all know the women's lacrosse team is the best team on campus. So this is the first time he's actually had to use his genius mind. Just let me see it, and maybe we'll change the answer. Gary, if you want to get a bite at Shine, I'm happy to do it. Maybe get a hug, too.
Hey, no hate on my guy, Gary.
I just wanted to give him a hug.
I'm going up because I think things are looking up for Syracuse, especially with their first ACC win under their belt. And it is only one of 2 games that Syracuse has played in the ACC, but you got a team against Duke who made it their ACC opener today, and they lost. So I think that's a good sign for Syracuse, especially a good mental boost and a strong emotional boost that Syracuse is going to need moving forward.
And it's going to be interesting with Coach Gate, really a challenge coaching this men's team, because the past few years with the women's team, they've been cruising to the championships.
Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy.
He's been laying back enjoying the sun when it's not at the Dome, when they have those outdoor games. He's having a good time and everything, but now he's got to put the work in and maybe get this team chugging a bit towards the NCAA tournament. I want to get your quick gut reactions on whether or not this team is going to make the tournament or not. They're sitting at 4-4 right now. All but one of their remaining games are against ranked opponents, including that one against Notre Dame. They play a top 5 team in Cornell later this season. NCAA tournament, yes or no?
No? No chance. There's absolutely no chance. This team is miles worse than it was last year, and even so, they struggled and kind of limped into the tournament. So them playing 4 top 12 teams throughout the rest of the season is really going to be their detriment. I think Gary Gate gets a big thumbs down for the rest of the season, and I think Joey Spallina, the savior, will come in next year. Then maybe we'll talk.
As much as I want to disagree with you, Spencer, I'm going with you. I don't know if Syracuse can make it to the tournament, but you did mention Spallina coming in next year, but you also have Tucker Dordevic. Can't leave that guy out.
This is true.
I love the tournament.
Owen Hiltz. People forget.
Tucker's a big thing. If your name's Tucker on Syracuse University's campus, I mean, you're an athlete.
Nick Tucker. We may as well name you.
Spencer, you should change your first name to Tucker.
That's fine, Dad.
I wish. Anyways, we're going to wrap up Orange Press Pass after the break. We'll get into the Atlantic Coast Conference, what's going around, some other teams, and then also our analysts will give their final thoughts on today's victory over Duke. Don't go anywhere.
What if one day you went to that secret place? That spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found this. What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family. Know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Wrapping up OPP here in the Citrus TV studios. Nick Zelaya here with Spencer Pierce and Andy Klaff. And now taking a look around the ACC, what other actions happening, and looking at the standings first. Virginia on top, 2-0 in conference play. But hey guys, there's the Orange sitting in second above the Duke Blue Devils, who they just beat today.
Yeah, I like we just talked about and yelled. I don't know, my throat hurts now. I put no merit into this at all. Syracuse is not going to be built for this ACC schedule. Duke will be coming, UNC will be coming, and of course Notre Dame will beat Syracuse, and I think we'll see Syracuse in last.
There's not much to talk about on the standings here because Syracuse and Virginia are the only two that have played two different teams in the ACC, one of them being each other. But you have a lot more to come for this year and this season, so it's early.
Now looking ahead to their next matchup against Notre Dame, like we talked about, Syracuse lost to the Irish twice last season, getting swept in the season series. What stands out to you guys?
Well, what stands out to me is the assist numbers, because I went in on them not passing the ball enough. I was almost going to say double the assists, but I'm not good at math. That's kind of Annie's section. But 62 assists as compared to 32. I would like to see what Notre Dame, their offensive game plan is like, because if they're playing a lot of that standalone ball, then Gavin will have a really, really statistically impressive game, because he'll have a lot of shots on goal that he can save.
And it's the second unranked opponent for Syracuse in a row. And Notre Dame did just fall to UVA earlier today, 12-8, and it's a huge difference from when Syracuse played UVA earlier this season. They lost 20-11.
Not good.
It's really not good in comparison, especially if Notre Dame was only down by 4 goals. It's going to be interesting to see how they do next weekend.
Syracuse was lucky today. They only had 3 penalties as a whole, but you saw there Notre Dame 70% in power play percentages. So if Syracuse can stay out of penalty trouble, that could be huge for them against this Fighting Irish team. But Syracuse, they defeat Duke 14-10 in the Dome to improve to 4-4, 1-1 in conference play. Spencer, what's your final thought on this victory?
My final thought is you have to stay physical. If the shots aren't falling, if your defense doesn't look so good, there's nothing easier in the sport than just putting a body on someone, right? And we saw that today as they stopped Duke. You can run it into the ground. Duke is a top 10 offensive team, yada, yada, yada. Syracuse put a body on them and were able to stop the offensive wagon that Duke is. So in the next few games where Syracuse is playing ranked opponent after ranked opponent, just put your body on them, put your stick on them. What bad could happen?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Spencer, and especially Syracuse needs to keep coming out of the gate from the start really hot like they did today. It might not have been consistent throughout the entire game, and that's something Syracuse struggles a lot with, is consistency. They're usually a second quarter team, but today first quarter. So I think if they can work on building that strength right from the start and that aggression and hopefully fixing their accuracy a little bit, but Syracuse, if they go right from the start throughout the entire game, that's the key, obviously.
Right.
Super quickly, I mentioned earlier when we talked about the Orange Press Pass player of the game, Tucker Dordevic, his 5th game, scoring 5 goals. Do you guys think Dordevic needs to score 5 goals in order for Syracuse to win games going forward?
I think yes. I think he's carrying the team on his back, and he has over the last few weeks, honestly. I expected more out of Brendan Curry today. I mentioned this earlier today, but without Dordevic, you're nowhere.
Yeah, I'm going to amend your question a little bit. I'm going to say 5 points is probably right around where Tucker needs to be. I think that's a really, really good spot for him. That includes goals, obviously assists, helping out the younger players on the team, as Annie so eloquently said before. I think 5 points is right around where he can be. But with that being said, get everyone back.
It's important to get the teammates involved. That'll wrap up Orange Press Pass here. Nick Zelaya, Spencer Pierce, Andy Klaff. Have a great night, everyone.